continually. It's nauseating. It's so fucked up.
So he decided to escalate his tactics. Ethan hired an attorney to begin issuing copyright strikes against clips of the H3 podcast that were getting posted on their Snark page. It's unknown exactly how many strikes were issued, but they went after quite a few, including some clips as short as 20 seconds long. Ethan has given various explanations for why he was trying to get these posts removed.
Me and my lawyer were extremely conservative about which posts qualified. The ones that I DMCA'd on that were egregious.
At different times, he's claimed he was only targeting members-only content or posts that openly stated they were trying to steal views. But neither of these turned out to be true. Clips that didn't fit either of those parameters were getting struck also. Eventually, some of these snarkers were added to Ethan's current lawsuits against Hassan's orbiters, which we'll come back to later. But in these filings, we received expanded explanations for some of the DMCA takedown requests. And all of a sudden, the justifications included things such as posts that didn't have enough comments on them. Not a great reason. These filings also claim that H3 was very purposeful with what they chose to strike, listing just 7.
I mean, he does realize it. He just doesn't care about being wrong. That's why everything he says is projecting his own actions onto everyone who injured his ego. I mean, there's got to be a fucking moment of introspection, right? Like, how the fuck do you live like this, man? I think one of my best strengths is the crippling self-doubt that I have that plagues me at times. It makes me a less skilled orator, I think, because that crippling self-doubt is always there in the back of my mind. Am I actually getting this right? Is there more information that I'm not privy to, right? When I'm delivering statements and shit like that. But I guess that also helps. That also helps because, like, I do check myself with regular fucking frequency. This motherfucker never does. You're a bad liar. I'm horrible at lying. I can't do it at all.
Examples with detailed explanations for each takedown. And in response to the idea that he was trying to silence his critics, Ethan would repeat this claim on stream, asserting that he had only struck a handful of clips from the subreddit.
And your dumb bitch ass at the time was saying I was silencing people, which makes no fucking sense because there's like 1,000 posts up there and we DMCA'd like 5 of them. But what they're referring to is just a DMCA. One of their posts of like the hundreds, if not thousands, got DMCA'd. And so the story is that I'm trying to silence free speech because one post of 1,000 got DMCA'd. Like I said, there's hundreds of posts. We removed maybe 5 at most.
But months earlier, when complaining about Reddit's inaction against Snark, Ethan had previously claimed to have successfully filed dozens of copyright strikes against them.
We performed dozens of copyright strikes on the Snark subreddit. We have removed dozens of posts.
So is Ethan possibly lying to downplay how many claims were being filed? If he is, it might be because what Ethan was actually trying to do was get the subreddit banned as a result of excessive DMCA notices, something that he had seen work with other Snark subreddits before.
She told me that she was aware that there's Snark pages that will talk about me and that talk about her, whatever. And she was like, I'm gonna give you this number of someone who can take down your Snarks. These people will go around and they will copyright strike things on subreddits to get them all these violations that then they get removed. I'm pretty sure as well that's how, Trisha Paytas got the Trishy Land Reddit taken down.
But obviously that plan didn't work, so he started making...
Just checking in, man. Do you take medication for all that incessant anxiety and depression fueled by hate? Don't mean to be intrusive. No, because I don't have incessant anxiety and depression. I do have self-doubt, but I don't have anxiety or depression. Also, I've been an anti-imperialist socialist publicly on the internet for the last 13 fucking years. This has opened me up to unfathomable lines of attack. Unless you're talking about the fears that I have about going to the beautiful nation state of Singapore, at which point the answer is yes. At which point, when I think about the only time where I ever have scary thoughts is when I'm thinking about doing commerce with the beautiful nation state of Singapore, only because of one guy and one guy only, a guy that lives there that has stalked me for years. His name is More Pegasus.
public threats of legal action against members of H3 Snark. And I wanted to briefly point out the very funny way that he talks when he's addressing Snark. He really thinks he's that guy.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will sue you.
He's already been granted a subpoena to obtain the personal information of prominent H3 Snark members, which he claims is just for legitimate copyright purposes.
And he's threatening to dox them. It's not a dox, you dumb fuck. It's called a subpoena. Now, what happens to that information? I don't know. I literally just want to hold them accountable for copyright infringement. Court filings are all public. So if like their private information shows up there, I literally can't help it.
But if you're not trying to dox them, then why say things like this? I mean, he's just openly expressing here that his goal is, at least partially, to expose the identities of these snarkers.
Like anyone that participated in that sub should be humiliated, embarrassed, and exposed. If I was one of these people and had something to lose, who had, let's say, a good job or was part of an elite university, something like that, they would certainly not want people to know what they've been up to. They all have quite a lot to lose, and I will be the one that makes them lose those things.
That is pretty explicit. I mean, just look at one of the letters from Ethan's attorney. Give us the identity of Snark moderators, or all of your personal info will be made public. And this letter was regarding a clip posted on H3 Snark that was 90 seconds long. It seems obvious that his primary motivation is not really protecting his property. But you know how we can be sure? Ethan previously, not even that long ago, had opened up the H3 IP to everybody, and he even gave his blessing to people profiting off of his channel.
I am opening our IP to the world. If you want to cut up clips from the podcast, from our members live, from anything with me in it, go for it, man. Monetize it. I will not claim.
Remember
I will
that?
not remove. I will not do anything.
Remember
to
that?
be fair, it's basically been my policy. I don't claim or remove anything really at all.
But now you're making it explicit.
Yeah.
He was openly encouraging people to monetize his property, even on YouTube.
We opened our IP, and there are starting to be
Yeah.
channels who are uploading content
I started noticing.
and they're getting views, and I'm very happy.
But Redditors, who don't profit off of him at all, he has a massive problem with his content being shared there. And the only difference between these two situations, one supports H3, the other criticizes him. You can't blanket open up your IP and then claim infringement when you just don't like who's sharing it. Either it's protected or it's not. So when it comes to H3 Snark, Ethan seems to have abused DMCA as a guise to try to silence his critics. That's it. This whole Snark controversy is really interesting because when you zoom out, it kind of gives you a lot of perspective on Ethan's character, like how he stands staunchly against involving people's families in online drama.
The way that's super fucked and twisted about it is how they go after people's families.
Except when he does it, or how he hates defamation and considers it harassment.
One of them fabricated a post. That's defamation.
Except when he does it, or how he thinks Snark is evil and should be wiped from the internet.
I'm against Snark subreddits. I stand opposed to all Snark subreddits.
Wow.
Except when he uses it. Yeah, this is Ethan's web browser back during his fallout with Trisha Paytas, and you'll notice Ethan is a frequent visitor of Trishyland. Trisha's Snark.
This public prosecutor Singapore has a Twitter account you could follow so you can see your very valid fears impacting your business. Government legal advisor, Attorney General's Chamber Singapore. Government legal advisor, public prosecutor, drafter of laws. Visit our website. Wow. That's good. This is good information. Thank you, Chatter. I look, for the longest time, I have loved the nation state of Singapore, and I will forever love the nation state of Singapore and its laws. Of course, one of my biggest, one of the things I love about the beautiful nation state of Singapore is, of course, its many ports, and its interest in keeping the Strait of Malacca open for business, open for my business. And yet, for some reason, as of late, I've had great anxiety about doing commerce in the nation state of Singapore. I'm very worried about traveling to the nation state of Singapore because of more Pegasus and the incessant harassment that he has engaged in, slander, smears. I'm talking about billions of dollars of commerce. Okay, billions of dollars of commerce. By monitoring recent activity in your coverage of Singapore Strait in the city of Batam, I've been able to lock down several contracts in the region. Thank you, sir. Yeah. And of course, this is a massive community that also love utilizing the ports, the many ports, the beautiful ports in the nation state of Singapore. Except for one man who has made our experience, this entire community that is famously business-minded and is a fan of doing commerce and doing trade with the nation state of Singapore, we have felt worried about continuing our future business with the nation state, potentially billions, if not trillions of dollars of assets moving back and forth. Just something that we're worried about. You know, I'll keep a close watch on the Attorney General's Chambers of Singapore
Subreddit. Ethan and the H3 crew are known to have been supporters and regular visitors of various Trisha Snark pages, including multiple named after their former podcast, Frenemies. The H3 podcast was actually remarkably public about being appreciative of Snark back when the target was somebody that they didn't like.
Frenemies too. Oh, you have to request to join? Well, I got to request access now.
Lev said he secured Frenemies 12, so we're safe.
Okay.
Wait, Frenemies 12 is us?
Yeah, we got it.
Go to Frenemies 12, people, since Frenemies 2 is closed.
Frenemies 2 is like home base.
You know what I mean?
Why have they done this?
The irony is that Ethan and Hila don't actually have a problem with snark. In fact, when his own fans engage in the same behaviors that he accuses snark of, he'll just pretend that it isn't happening.
It's a numbers game, okay? Some people, obviously, from our audience are going to be take it too far and be inappropriate and say horrible things. This is not my fan base. So them even trying to make it about our fan base is disingenuous, and it's a fucking lie.
This is slightly old data, but one of the most popular subreddits among people who also post in H3 subreddit is a makeup snark page. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because the thing is, Ethan is a controversial figure with millions of followers. He's been involved in countless dramas and public feuds with others, and at that scale, criticism is inevitable. Some of it is going to be harsh. Some people might cross lines. But that doesn't mean there's a massive organized campaign against you. It just means you're notable and there's a lot of eyeballs on you. And I don't know how to protect someone like Ethan from every isolated incident of harassment on the internet, but I know that the answer is not silencing all of your critics. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Kilo, didn't these people send CPS and skulls to his house? I don't blame Ethan for taking matters into his own hands. Well, let's see. In November of 2024, Ethan began threatening Reddit with legal action if he couldn't get H3 Snark banned from the website. In December, it was discovered that he had been weaponizing DMCA against them. In January, he finalized his plan to ultimately sue them for copyright infringement. Then in February, he began making vague threats of doxing and exposing the identities of the Snark moderators. And the CPS and skulls incidents didn't happen until March.
So I'm gonna skip the CPS stuff, and let's get to let's speed this up a little bit because I want to see his lawsuit arc, and I also want to see some of these other villains that I apparently have that many of which I have heard of, at least tangentially know of, and some I do not know of at all.
Really got me. It's the stated malicious intent to steal.
And I suggest you all watch it through other people as well.
If you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe.
A lot of people have been wanting to watch this without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein.
So Ethan is targeting people who maliciously reacted by openly stating that they wanted to avoid supporting his channel. And to a lot of people, that makes sense. Go after the people who were trying to harm your channel. But the problem is that both legally and logically, the concept of a quote malicious reaction is kind of fucking incoherent. So legally, any focus on malice in a copyright lawsuit would be a misapplication of copyright law. In US
Oh my God, it turns out this static fucking PNG was right. It turns out that's precisely what a judge, a real ass judge, saw and decided. Wow, it turns out this static PNG knows how to fucking read and has a working brain. Lo and behold, everybody, you can't issue a copyright suit while simultaneously claiming that the content itself is transformative, but not in the direction that you fucking wanted it to be. Wow. But I thought all of these weird, perverted legal guys, fake lawyers,
law, especially when arguing,
were right. I thought Asmongold was right. It turns out they were fucking wrong. Because remember, this video came out before the Denims, the Denims lawsuit ended, which has not even ended. As a matter of fact, it's still ongoing because Ethan wants to foolishly appeal it for some fucking strange reason. He hasn't gotten enough. Denim says, I can't believe Legal Mindset would lie to me. Yeah, it's really messed up. Especially after all of his courses that we paid about, going and living in Asia and all the many benefits of living in Asia. All the many creepy benefits. I'm just a big city lawyer.
for fair use, intent, or malice has pretty much nothing to do with whether infringement has actually occurred. The primary test for fair use focuses on 4 factors, mainly whether the work has been sufficiently transformed by adding new meaning or commentary. But intent or malice is not one of those 4 factors. Someone could be completely unaware that material they're using is even copyrighted, and they can still be found guilty of infringement. Malice might come into play later when determining damages, but legally, it's completely irrelevant to whether anyone's guilty of copyright infringement. And logically, Ethan's focus on malice doesn't really make sense either. Look at it this way. If somebody steals your property, whatever they say they're doing isn't really relevant. If someone steals a bike from your front yard and rides away saying, "It's okay, I'm not stealing it, I'm just riding it," They're still stealing your bike. They're receiving all the benefits of theft, and you're experiencing all the harm of it, regardless of what they said they were doing. With React content, it's the same thing. If you watch someone's entire video on stream, you've taken their content and given your audience a version they can watch instead of the original. Whether you say, I'm stealing your viewers, or you say, I love this creator, doesn't change what you're doing. The only thing that matters here is whether or not your coverage adds enough to the original video to make it a fundamentally different product, which would mean you're no longer stealing. And furthermore, everyone who reacts to an entire video on stream with minimal commentary knows that that's what's happening. They know their audience is watching through them instead of going to the original. That's not a secret, that's how the genre works. So if somebody knows they're stealing viewers and they choose to do it anyway, isn't that literally the definition of malice? So then what's the difference between what these 3 women did and anyone else who gave a low-effort reaction to the content nuke? Well, materially, there isn't one. All of them willfully chose to deprive Ethan's channel of potential viewers. The only difference is Denims, Frogan, and Caseytron said those words out loud. I do want to briefly point out that I'm not even really sure that Denims or Caseytron did in fact openly state an intent to steal views. I know Ethan's convinced everyone that that's what happened, but look at what they actually said. Denims responded to a chatter saying they wanted to watch the content nuke through someone else, and simply confirms that she is in fact going to react to it, which isn't really malicious. At the end of the video, she makes the comment from earlier. If you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, etc. That's not really malicious intent either. The video is already over, and it's simply an acknowledgement that some people were there for that reason. Same thing with Caseytron. A lot of people have been wanting to watch this without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. That's not really a statement of intent, it's just kind of a fact. And that's all she said. So is this really them saying they're trying to steal Ethan's views? I'm not really convinced of that. They seem more like statements of awareness about the market for boycotting Ethan Klein's channel. But let's leave that aside. Let's say these were explicit statements of malicious intent. There's another creator who Ethan is not suing who did the exact same thing. XQC proudly admitted that he is stealing Ethan's content during his reaction.
I actually admitted watching it. I admitted watching it. People think reacting on stream? No. Watching. I'm not reacting to this. I'm watching this. What about it?
If Ethan actually cared about lazy React content, XQC is a prime example of somebody he should be going after. He reacted to the content nuke in full with minimal commentary. He's got a massive audience, and he's openly admitted he doesn't care about intellectual property. To Ethan.
So in that regard, do you care at all about like IP or copyright? Does that matter to you?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Well, if flat out doesn't.
During that same debate, Ethan specifically called out XQC for using deceptive thumbnails, taking the original creator's thumbnail and slapping his face on it to confuse audiences and siphon views.
The fact that you're using the same title and the same thumbnail is so parasitic, it's so shady. You are only doing that to siphon off views and confuse people. There is no other reason for that.
But that's exactly what XQC did with the content nuke. By Ethan's own standards, XQC should be the first person he would go after. But when he watches him proudly admitting to stealing his property, he has only nice things to say.
I'm not reacting to this. I'm watching this. What about it?
And listen, I respect it, man. I acknowledge you.
We hear you.
I acknowledge you as the king of this shit.
So is Ethan just a pussy who won't go after someone that has the money to fight back? Yes.
Yep.
But more importantly, the shows that...
But also, he knows that XQC plays a formative role in the harassment. He knows Asmongold plays a big role in the harassment campaigns because Ethan's audience is dwindling. But there are a lot of much larger and much more insane audiences out there who will participate in the harassment of all of Ethan's enemies, which is precisely the reason why he never chose to sue like Asmongold or XQC, because he doesn't care about receiving negative pushback from their audiences. He actually welcomes the fact that they did this dog shit react in a way that wasn't transformative at all. But he didn't care about copyright at all. That wasn't the point. He just wanted to punish people who made him feel bad for criticizing him.
The lawsuits have nothing to do with malice or lazy React content or protecting intellectual property. This is just a targeted attack on specific people that Ethan doesn't like, which is not really what the court system is meant for. And of the people Ethan is suing, Denims is the clearest example of just how bad faith he's being here. I mean, Ethan spends his entire announcement video talking about the harm of lazy React streamers, like people who walk away from the video and leave it playing.
The problem seems to have only gotten worse. You have people like Hassan Piker paving the way of fair use with what's known as chair reacts, when Hassan gets up, disappears for an extended period of time, and leaves the video.
You want to know what the craziest thing is? He's literally defended my reacts to XQC and said at the time that I engaged in the most transformative reacts that he had ever seen. Bro, there's literally just like pre-Fallout, post-Fallout Ethan. Every single thing Ethan Klein said about me before he chose to believe that I hurt his feelings and turned the entire internet against him. is the exact opposite of like the post Fallout where he's just trying to maximize the pain.
Playing for his chair, Mr. Chair, they call it.
But Denim's reaction to the content nuke was nothing like that. The content nuke itself is less than 2 hours long, and Denim's reaction to it is almost 4 hours long. And according to Ethan's own standard, that should qualify as being transformative.
My reacting to Ian's content cop, which I finished my total reaction was probably what, like 5 hours or something in total, maybe less, 4. And his was 1.5 hours. I think that sounds pretty reasonable. That's like taking 2 times more than the original runtime, which seems like a good amount to contribute to have proper commentary, right?
So again, by his own measure of what fair use is, Denim sufficiently transformed his video, which should mean she didn't really steal anything. So why then is Ethan still suing her? Ethan had a problem. He wanted to sue Denims, but as of right now, there really isn't that much legal precedent for full-length live React content like this. So it's pretty unclear whether Denim's reaction to the content nuke would legally be found to be an infringement on copyright, especially given the length and added commentary. And because Ethan couldn't know for sure, he decided to hedge.
Some of you guys out there sweating?
He didn't just register the content nuke with the US Copyright Office. He also registered the countdown stream that led up to it on the H3 podcast, which Denims did watch live. And her reaction to this countdown stream is far less likely to fall under fair use. But the problem is this countdown stream doesn't seem like it's what Ethan was talking about when he expressed wanting to protect people's content. In his announcement video, he repeatedly mentions long-form content and uses Lamino, whose videos likely take weeks or months to make, as an example of unfairness.
What if I could make a long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist, they couldn't avoid the temptation of watching it the second it was published?
So he's clearly making it sound like he's talking about video essays and things with high production quality, not some countdown stream. He specifically talks about Denims here as though she reacted to the content nuke itself with no commentary.
I knew they would watch the entire video, add little to no commentary. After being gone for a few minutes, she returns and then sits silently for another couple of minutes eating.
But he doesn't mention the countdown stream a single time. It's almost like he doesn't want you to realize that he's completely spite-driven and full of shit.
You're lying.
Maybe I am, so what?
And here's what makes that super obvious. Ethan didn't even register the countdown stream with the content nuke back in January. He did it in March, 2 months later. What happened in March that would make Ethan want to be sure he could go after Denims?
That it seems like she's directly responsible for CPS coming to my house in the morning and interviewing my children.
These basically are not even really copyright lawsuits. It's quite obvious that Ethan just came up with a way to use the legal system against his personal enemies. And the ultimate goal of his plan was to threaten them with something that they couldn't fight back against. Take Caseytron and Frogan, for instance. These two have pretty small audiences. They could not have meaningfully impacted Ethan's income at all. But Ethan is pursuing statutory damages, meaning his payout wouldn't be based on any actual lost revenue, but a fixed amount that the court decides upon, and could be up to $150,000. He's also asking for attorney's fees and prejudgment interest, just for good measure. This is Ethan applying the absolute maximum amount of financial pressure possible. He's not really trying to right a wrong. He's trying to make the cost of defense so high that they don't actually have a choice. Caseytron, for instance, expressed concern about losing her home as a result of the lawsuit. And when she's facing that level of financial threat, she doesn't realistically have the option of trying to prove whether she's right or wrong. She's probably gonna just decide to not risk losing her house, which is likely why Caseytron was the first of the 3 defendants to resolve her case. The 2 parties settled in December, and as part of that settlement, she was required to deliver an on-stream apology, a statement which consisted of roughly 26 seconds discussing the importance of copyright, followed by almost 3 minutes of things like this.
I also want to make clear that I did not receive any support, financial or otherwise, from Hassan Piker. Hassan never even reached out to me privately to offer words of support. I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge other misconduct and bad behavior I have exhibited online. For example, weaponizing the death of Asmongold's mother was inexcusable. AB, along with his wife Lena, have done more than I have ever done for the Palestinian people. I apologize to Ethan.
It was so strange that people watched this and there were still people who I didn't even for a moment. I made my point very clear. I was like, that's great. I'm glad that Casey said that. She should say whatever she needs to get out of this fucking nightmare scenario. But what's wild about it is that I still to this day wonder if there was a single person who watched that video and didn't realize that it was a hostage video and was like sincerely going, wow, Caseytron finally leaked this, spilled the secrets. Like Hassan's a real piece of shit. And she seems sincerely apologetic to Asmongold. Like, I wonder if there's a single person who took this at face value, or if every single person just simply wanted to use this to advance that agenda and just spread it far and wide to be like, see? Yes, his fans thought she was sincere. No. No.
And Gila personally, I have said extremely mean and cruel things about both of them. I also want to acknowledge the pervasive problem of anti-Semitism in leftist spaces. It should concern all of us. I condemn it and will not participate in it. To that end, I wish the client's success in enforcing TED Entertainment's copyright and protecting the legal rights of online content creators.
Ethan claims that these lawsuits weren't about the money, and he did this to protect the wider commentary community.
Even though theoretically I could sue a lot more creators and rake in millions of dollars, the purpose of this is not financial gain. I don't want to chill the reaction community into fear. Actually, the opposite. I hope that we can all unite against this type of egregious behavior that not only makes us all look bad, but could destroy the commentary community as we know it.
But when he was able to point a dollar bill-shaped gun at Casey Tron's head and force her to say whatever he wanted.
You forgot, bro. Betelgeuse says, Hassan, they think Ethan is sincere, morally correct. The Hassan didn't help part was taken seriously by literally everyone online. I don't know. I don't know if like people see, that's what I mean. I don't know if people actually took that seriously or if they were just like using it as an opportunity to advance their fuck Hassan agenda. Not that it matters to me, but the fans think you dropped the Noah Samsen lawsuit as goodwill. What do you mean they think it's sincere? Oh my God. Mitch McConnell, proof of life. Hassan's POV. I don't like that you guys are sharing my sexy ass boyfriend's photos from the hospital bed like that.
Even his intellectual property became an afterthought. He was almost exclusively interested in humiliating her, sucking up to Asmongold, dunking on Hassan, and otherwise just trying to win his little interpersonal online battles. Oh, and then boldly fucking lying afterwards that he had sympathy for Casey Tron and that the apology was genuine.
I think ultimately her apology was heartfelt and sincere.
You would have to be a total idiot to actually believe that.
It's incredibly...
Yeah. By the way, now there's even further evidence. I can't say how much I know, but everyone now knows that that apology was forcibly written by Ethan Klein, considering that with the Noah Samsen lawsuit, we found out that that's precisely what Ethan has been doing. So if you had any opinion that this was like a sincere apology, then now you know Ethan has been doing this, advancing lawsuits, and then trying to. Do you have to pause every 3 seconds? Yes, I do, because I like to do transformative content, contrary to what the internet thinks. But yeah, it's very obvious that Ethan made Casey Tron write that. His lawyer signed off on it, and then he just sat there on his stream and made it seem like it was a sincere apology. There was a heartfelt apology that Ethan had no say in.
It's stressful, both emotionally and financially, to go through a lawsuit.
It is,
Everybody
and I
knows
appreciate the situation she's been in.
You're the one putting strain on her situation. Ethan even made Casey Tron declare her willingness to help him pursue the H3 Snark moderators, who he claims colluded with the defendants to promote their streams.
For the record, I have agreed to cooperate with the Kleins in their litigation against the H3 Snark mods for promoting my live stream to the extent that I am able.
But his evidence for this is just this Reddit post listing publicly announced streams that were going to be reacting to the content new.
She's working directly with the Snark subreddit moderators to siphon views, and their intentions couldn't be clearer.
But there's been no evidence presented of any two-way communication between the defendants and H3 Snark. So Ethan's even using these coerced statements to promote narratives about his enemies that he likely doesn't even have evidence for, which means that these totally spite-driven copyright lawsuits are being weaponized to compel the speech of the people that Ethan is feuding with, and all of it is in service of simply managing his online reputation. And even if you hate Hassan and Denims and all these people, what Ethan is doing here should repulse you, because it's extremely clear that his announcement video, the forced apology, his acceptance of the apology, this entire situation was a lie. And he lied because Ethan knows what he's doing is fucked up. He knows it's wrong to abuse the court to litigate personal grievances. So he has to pretend to be doing it for some greater purpose.
I mean, people don't like injustice, and we all see this, and no, it's not right. I hope that we can all unite against this type of egregious behavior that could destroy the commentary community as we know it.
Ethan, don't settle. Bleed her bank account bone dry. That's not my intention. My intention is just to obviously stand up for what's right.
But that's obviously not what's happening. None of what Ethan is doing will help the React community. These cases won't establish any helpful legal precedent. And he's not even setting a social precedent against blatantly stealing content because he's letting the most long-time egregious offenders off the hook. The precedent that Ethan is setting is that wealthy creators can use the threat of litigation to suppress the speech of people they dislike. And despite Ethan claiming he wants to avoid a chilling effect,
I don't want to chill the reaction community into fear.
This will establish a totally different kind of one. Spite-driven lawsuits like this threaten the entire foundation of online commentary. Healthy internet ecosystems thrive on creators engaging with each other's work. Commentary, criticism, live reactions, whether positive or negative, these things expose audiences to new creators, generate more content, and keep the space dynamic and interesting. Creators respond to each other, build off each other's ideas, and issue criticisms. But weaponizing the legal system over personal beef undermines all of that. And Ethan knows it. That's the reason he's doing it. Maybe if there were a legitimate standard that Ethan was trying to correct, then I could get behind him. But that isn't what's happening. He didn't go after everyone who actually stole his property. He didn't go after people who meaningfully affected his income. He didn't even go after the people who actually set the current standards for the thing he claims to be concerned about. He went after 3 small-scale creators that he hates. And he's using his vastly superior wealth to force them to say whatever he wants, attacking his enemies, making political statements they likely don't believe, and humiliating themselves publicly, all while lying to your face about what he's actually doing. And the thing is, it doesn't matter whether Caseytron is a good person or whether she said shitty things about people. It doesn't matter what Denims or Frogan have done in the past. What matters is whether you think someone with money should be able to abuse the court to silence their enemy's speech and expression, because that is the standard Ethan is setting. Not a standard about transformation, not one about protecting intellectual property. It's just the standard of don't piss off Ethan Klein. And if you're not disgusted by that notion, you should be. Ethan would be.
In this country, we value free speech. And what are...
It's a bizarre Israel-Palestine analogy. Yes. No, it literally is. It's verbatim. It's 1 for 1. Remember when the country of Israel said they were going to sue Nicholas Kristof for the New York Times reporting about sexual violence that Palestinians had faced in the hands of the Israeli occupying forces, in the hands of settlers? They also went as far as to say, first, we're going to win in the court of the public court of opinion. Then we're going to win in the court of law. A couple weeks after the fact, the New York Times revealed that they were conducting an investigation into Nicholas Kristof for potentially not revealing financial supporters when he had that brief stint when he was running for office. Now, I think that's just like ass covering from the New York Times. And the New York Times not being truly punitive. But it's not shocking to me that someone found some angle of attack against Nicholas Kristof.
reaction video ultimately is free speech.
I think if you're a reactor on Twitch, if you make a good faith effort to comment, and if you make a good faith effort to promote the author, to link to them, to try to drive traffic to the original video, I think you're probably pretty much doing the right thing, and that's fine.
Fair use doesn't give a shit if you watch the video first or not. I didn't watch this video first.
I knew they would watch the entire video, react to it instantly, giving them no time to form an opinion.
I have to show that I've watched it before and thought, well, I have something good to add. I didn't watch your video beforehand, bro.
A long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist. They couldn't avoid the temptation.
For the record, random stray. But like this literally vindicated former Ethan against former, what's that Australian guy who hates me too? Yeah. No, Fat Ethan was right, and the Australian guy was totally wrong. Dark Viper AU. I feel bad, because I do genuinely think Dark Viper AU, I think he's like kind of lost in the sauce with the React content, and I think he gets like super hyper fixated on stuff. But by and large, his politics seem far better than any of these other freaks. Like he just got too passionate and too emotional while also simultaneously being kind of wrong about the issue. Like maybe he's morally right if he thinks that like React content is just like complete theft, right? But he was just legally in the wrong. And because he was just a little bit too passionate about it, he just said, how come you still do chair reacts? I love chair reacts. It's my favorite. I always do it famously. He's a great guy. Love his vids. He cares for his community and has a good worldview. I think so too. I just think he's a little insane. I mean, he straight up said that like reacting to other people's videos is the same as rape. Like you're a rapist if you react to other people's videos. That's what he said. One of his videos on you, it was called How a Socialist Made Capitalism Worse. Yeah. He's a socialist leftist, but had a gambling deal. Pretty hypocritical. Interesting. I didn't know that. He also jumped on Kaigate. Yeah, no, he hates me. So he'll forever hate me. Like no matter what happens, Dark Viper AU is an enigma to me. Because he's so interesting, because I think out of all of these people who hate me, he genuinely has like social democratic values. He is like legitimately a progressive person, I think. He's just fucking nuts about React. And not only is he just nuts about Reacts, I think I think he's just very passionate, and he will be a forever enemy of mine, despite the fact that, you know, I think worldview-wise, we're probably far closer to one another in the way that we see the world than many of these other guys like Asmongold and shit. So that's really a funny turn of events. JXC a bit too right. They seem all right, but have a similar hiccup with Reacts. Yeah. JXC was the OG React gate. And it's so funny because like I literally apologized. I apologized to them. I took the video down. Like it just did not matter. They just went on a fucking tangent. They went on a tangent with like some fucking right-wing weirdos. Did like a 10-hour broadcast about how I am the most like, I'm the worst villain on the internet. And it's crazy because again, I think they're somewhat progressive. Right? I think JXC is also somewhat progressive. But they're progressive, but they're friends with like a lot of anti-woke chuds. And maybe they get lost in the sauce a little bit, but I feel like JXC hangs out with Mahler, right-wing weirdo. Yeah, I think something happens, man. I don't know what it is. There's a couple content creators where I'm like, you're surrounded by a lot of these. Didn't you say there was a really bad shit going off screen when the initial React-gate shit happened? Yes, but I will. It's fine. We don't need to talk about that. That doesn't matter. Progressive has lost its meaning like anti-Semitism. Agreed? No. When I say these guys are, when I say these guys are like somewhat progressive, I mean it. Like I think they have relatively progressive worldviews, like that. While they have, like they would just as easily have been in this community, right? That's the way I see it. Like they could have just as easily been in this community, but maybe they have like a couple chuddy friends and they just like developed so much animosity towards me that they find themselves constantly on the other side. Find themselves constantly on the other side of these sorts of arguments. Another legion of villains. I really thought that by this point they would have given up. I guess they still hate me and whoever they assume is in my orbit, like Denims, you know? Even though these are content creators in their own right. Reactgate was such an insane era. Fucking Matt Pep made a video about you, which was the first and last time I've ever seen him make an official video about drama. He always only addressed drama on his weekly live streams. It's because I'm male Pokimane, dude. Pokimane sneezes and there's like 700 think pieces on why she ain't shit and deserves less. Right? And because it's been going on for years and years, because it's been going on for fucking a decade plus at this point, now it's over. Like, no matter what happens, there will always be a decent number of people who just go, she's the fucking worst, because they've heard that so many times over the last decade. And I'm in a similar predicament. There's always going to be people. There's always going to be motherfuckers out there who are just like, no matter what this guy does, I could save orphan puppies from a burning building, and they'd be like, that's... He did that performatively. Yeah. Call me Piker Main or Pokey Male.
Of watching it the second it was published.
It's speech, bro. I don't need anyone's permission to say anything.
You can't just say whatever you want. You can't just say, I'm in favor of genocide. You got to watch what you say. I'm not standing by this shit anymore.
And I'm going to call out people like Brendan, too, because this is just bad for everyone. And it's especially egregious considering the hypocrisy of the whole free speech thing that these guys apparently love so well.
Free speech. You go to free speech. Shut up, dumbass.
You're shutting down criticism and you're pretending like it's a copyright issue. It's not. It's fair use. It's protected speech.
This isn't a free speech issue. This is people are fucking getting way too comfortable slandering and saying whatever they want about people online under the guise of free speech.
There's lots of videos shitting on me on the internet. You know, I wish I could just delete them.
Look, see, this is what I mean. Cry me a river, Zap Boy. You will always be the heel of the internet. Does it seem like I'm crying? I don't give a fuck. Look, more often than not, you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of issues. That's my point, right? If your entire fucking worldview revolves around being like, I fucking hate Hassan, you're going to end up being on the fucking wrong side of issues. Do you want to be? Analysis should not be compelling, just factual. This piece of shit, small head. Does he have a platform? How's the subpoena? Yo, small head, you gauge. ...2013 account, bro. You posting like this? Come on. You're older than me. It's ironic because I was just talking about how positioning your worldview around like hating me is always going to put you on the wrong side of issues. You know what I mean? And you just showed it. Frank Miller's goated. He served the movie industry script to a platter. I'll design it. Give me a prompt. Northern Iberia or Celtic blood is a good choice. These R words that want to debate you. You won't even debate you. They'll barrage you with emotional, intense vitriol. Like everyone who debates usually does. Debates devolve to dick measuring contests. Thank you for sparing your favorite content creator of the humiliation of having to actually defend their ideas against someone who knows more than they do. Anyway, let's continue.
Off the internet, you know, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be just convenient? But you know what? You can't do it. That's free speech. you know, and free speech is tested when it's targeted at you.
You can't just say whatever the fuck you want. It's time to start holding people accountable for the shit they're saying.
I fight every day to protect free speech. I put my money on the line, I go to court, and I'll do it as many times as I need to.
You guys have been doing this for years. It's the jig is up. You're gonna have to tell it to a judge, literally.
By the way, this guy likes threatening to sue people. All over fair use and my right to free speech.
And if I wanted to sue you, I probably could fucking ruin your whole life. It'll be great to sue them. I'd love to sue her. I'd love to sue him. I'm gonna sue you. It's not a threat. I'm going to sue you.
We get to pursue legal fees for this garbage anti-free speech lawsuit.
And to all the detractors who are saying that I'm a hypocrite for suing for copyright infringement, I just have this to say. I don't care.
It's easy to defend free speech when it's got nothing to do with you, right? When it makes you look good. But when free speech makes you look bad, then let's see how much you defend it.
But the moment online criticism became too difficult for him to handle, all of those principles went out the window. And not only has he completely abandoned those principles, he's become the thing that he spent so much of his career complaining about. As an example, look at the initial complaints for the lawsuits. These were over 80 pages long and contained things like a comparison between Hassan and Haj Amin al-Husseini, a notable Nazi collaborator during World War II. And yeah, this is clearly partially intended to waste opposing counsel's time and rack up the defendant's legal fees. But Ethan's been on the receiving end of litigation like this before.
He's doing a spite lawsuit trying to ruin our lives. And God forbid I actually fight back against a fucking total fraudulent copyright lawsuit. Well, fuck you, bro.
Or how he spent the last 2 years complaining about online harassment. But in the versions of these complaints that Ethan linked under his announcement video, he censored his lawyer's contact information, obviously to try to prevent harassment, but he did nothing to protect the identities of the 3 defendants, which were previously not widely known. I mean, sure, court filings are public, but then why censor anything at all? Ethan knew what he was trying to protect his lawyer from, but he declined to try to offer that same protection to the defendants and published it to millions of people. I don't know if most people would think of this as doxing, but I don't know what else to call it. And if that is what this was, we shouldn't be surprised. Ethan has clearly shown time and time again that he has no standards of any kind. I mean, like back during the Matt Haas lawsuit, I can't speak for everybody, but I supported Ethan. Yes, partially because of fair use, but also because it was obvious that Matt Haas simply didn't like that someone was making fun of him. It was clearly a case of someone abusing copyright law to go after their enemies. But now that's Ethan, and he's like this with everything. He condemns things when they work against him, but he's perfectly fine with them when they work for him. Like, he considers it harassment when people contact his sponsors over his own controversial statements, but it's totally fine to contact sponsors when he decides it's okay.
It must be nice to be racist, openly racist, bigoted, and Twitch does nothing. Capcom, Samsung, and Chevron should absolutely know about what kind of content Twitch is putting in front of their logo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mr. Apocalypse. Yeah, all because he was butthurt that people were like, dude, you're too pro-Israel.
Or how he thinks snark is the worst possible thing on the internet, but he didn't have a problem with it when it was someone else. His own community is basically Hassan's snark at this point, and they're just mimicking his own behavior.
And he's the type of guy that keeps his girlfriend a secret. I'll just spill the beans. I don't care at all about him. I asked, I said, why do you keep your relationship with Valkyrie a secret? And it was his decision.
He likes everybody dreaming of being with him.
That's obviously why.
He hates people bringing up personal, sensitive stuff, like talking about his dead dog, but he'll readily reveal intimate, private details about people whenever he wants. Seriously, how do you think Ethan would react in 2026 if someone made an entire website dedicated to comparing him to, I don't know, how about convicted mass murderer and child rapist John Wayne Gacy?
I don't know how you can be a parasocial weirdo after knowing me in person. You know what I mean? Like, how is that even possible? Just like drawing fucking hatred towards random people, and, you know, people that I know. It's crazy. Like, if this is probably one of the biggest no-nos in content creation in general, is just like leaning into suspicions and like trying to fucking engage in this kind of parasocial behavior. There's a reason why people don't do that. And it's crazy that he's just like full-fledged, full dick went into it. I guess, yeah, it's the same as stalking exes. You're not wrong.
Which I did do, by the way. So I guess we'll see. Anyway, the point is, this whole thing between Ethan and Hassan, it was never about Israel or Palestine. It was never really about harassment. This was always about a 40-year-old former online hero who torments himself over what people online are saying about him, and who completely loses his mind over not having control over it. He's been losing subscribers and obsessively coming up with massive conspiracy theories to explain why, instead of facing the obvious, which is that he pretends to be honest and stand up for things. But he's a giant crybully whose only principle is self-preservation, and he'll sell you any lie that he can to try to uphold it. Which makes Ethan
a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. A fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
For his efforts, Ethan Klein's the winner of our first Weasley Little Liar Award, the Sort of a Piece of Shit Award. Mazel tov. So you'd probably think that vexatious lawsuits, lying, doxing, and harassing smaller figures into silence would be met with widespread condemnation online. But actually, Ethan is surrounded by a gang of similarly dishonest creators who've been clapping like seals at somebody who has the time and the money to go after Hasan and his orbit. These people have a variety of motivations. Some of them are clout hungry, some of them feel personally slighted by Hasan, and some of them are perhaps just mentally disabled. But all of them deserve to be recognized for helping usher in this new online meta where there are no standards of behavior whatsoever, as long as the person on the other side is named Hasan Piker. Time for the